The beautiful girl cries to beg the boy to let her join his harem. The boy agrees, on the condition that she get a magic tattoo symbolizing a slave. With the magic tattoo, the boy can order the girls to do anything he wants. Even so, there are still countless beautiful girls who want to become a member of the boy's harem, because he is the strongest hero in this world. Hi, I am Elephant. Today I am going to recap the second half of The Rising of the Shield Hero, Season 1. If you haven't watched the first half, you can find the link in the comments section. Are you ready? Let's start today's recap. As I mentioned before, the troops suddenly attack Princess Melty. Naofumi immediately protects her, and the troops immediately flee and slander Naofumi for kidnapping Melty. Soon, the news of the Shield Hero's kidnapping of the princess spread throughout the country. Naofumi and his companions are all wanted. Melty speculates that it was Melty who ordered the troops to assassinate her, and if she succeeds, Melty will become the heir to the throne, and if she fails, the troops will slander Naofumi for kidnapping her. If Melty returns to the palace now, she will definitely be killed by Melty, and Naofumi suggests that Melty follow him to another country. During the journey, Melty tells Naofumi that her mother is actually the true leader of the Melromark kingdom. Because her mother was a queen, she had more power than the king. The queen was friendly to the shield hero, but she has to hide temporarily due to the framing of the church. At this time, they suddenly hear the sound of the troops marching. Naofumi guesses that the troops must be pursuers and immediately flees. On the edge of a cliff, pursuers catch up with Naofumi. The other three heroes are also in the troops. Melty tries to explain to them that Naofumi did not kidnap her and that everything is a plot by Melty. But Melty says that Naofumi possesses a brainwashing shield, and everyone who talks to him will be brainwashed. The stupid spear hero believes Melty's words, and the two sides begin to fight. In the end, the two end in a draw, and Naofumi breaks the road, causing the pursuers to be unable to chase after them. Before leaving, Naofumi asks the sword hero to figure out the truth instead of believing Melty's lie. After Naofumi and the others flee to safety, the queen's agent appears in front of them. On behalf of the queen, the agent invites Naofumi to meet the queen. Just then, the forest suddenly catches fire, and it turns out that Melty sets fire to the forest in order to find Naofumi. Even so, the pursuers still can't find Naofumi. Angry, Naofumi eventually decides to go back to see the queen, vowing to make Melty pay. Melty tells Naofumi that there is a kind lord nearby who they can turn to for help. This lord treats the demi-humans very well, which is rare to see in the Melromark kingdom. Naofumi and his companions spend the night in the lord's castle. However, the lord is arrested the next day. His maid reminds Naofumi to escape as soon as possible. It turns out that the nearby general heard that the lord had taken in the shield hero and broke into the castle with his army. Naofumi takes Raphtalia to hide together. The general's army looks for him, and Melty, in order to cover Naofumi, has to come to the general, and then leaves with him. After the general leaves, Naofumi decides to find a way to rescue Melty. When Raphtalia sees the general, she becomes very angry. It turns out that the general was the one who sold her to a slave trader. Besides, the general also killed many of Raphtalia's compatriots. So Naofumi decides to help Raphtalia take revenge. After the general arrested the lord, many demi-humans are angry and they rebel. Naofumi takes advantage of this opportunity and breaks into the general's castle with Philo and Raphtalia. At this time, the general intends to force Melty to reveal Naofumi's whereabouts. He even tries to hurt Melty, and at this time, Naofumi arrives with Raphtalia to save Melty. After that, Raphtalia decides to personally defeat the general and avenge her compatriots. When Raphtalia was a child, she had a best friend. They grew up listening to the legend of the shield hero, and they all loved the hero. However, in a wave, their village was destroyed by monsters. Later, Raphtalia and her compatriots intended to rebuild their home together, but this shameless general attacked them with his army. The general killed many demi-humans and sold all the younger demi-humans to the slave trader. Now Raphtalia is finally strong enough. She defeats the general in a duel and avenges her compatriots. Raphtalia then arrives at the general's dungeon, where many of her compatriots are still being held. Raphtalia rescues her compatriots, but her best friend has been killed by the general. Naofumi assures Raphtalia and her compatriots that he will help them rebuild their homeland so that all demi-humans can live happily there. When Naofumi and the others leave the dungeon, the badly wounded general breaks a seal, from which a dinosaur comes. The dinosaur stomps the nobleman to death, and then attacks Naofumi. The dinosaur is so powerful that Naofumi thinks that even if they can defeat the dinosaur, they will pay a lot. If they fight in the city, it will cause many civilian casualties. So Naofumi decides to flee first and fight back when the right opportunity comes. They lure the dinosaur to a lake and fight against it. The dinosaur moves very slowly, but its skin is very hard, and the attacks of Naofumi and others cannot cause any damage to the dinosaur. At this moment, a thick fog suddenly appears around. Many Philolials run out of the forest, and then a huge Philolial flies out of the water. Melty recognizes the Philolial as the Queen of the Philolials. Queen Philolial kicks the dinosaur away and then kills the dinosaur in an instant. Queen Philolial, like Philo, can become a human. Legend has it that Queen Philolial, raised by the previous shield hero, is one of the strongest creatures in the world. Queen Philolial invites Naofumi and his companions to visit the homeland of Philolials, where Naofumi cooks a large number of cuisines and invites numerous Philolials to taste together. Naofumi's companions get along very well with the Philolials, but in the middle of the night, Queen Philolial asks Naofumi to reconcile with the other 3 heroes. Otherwise, she will kill all the heroes, including Naofumi. It turns out that Queen Philolial believes that only when the 4 heroes join forces can they save the world. If they keep being hostile toward each other, this world will probably be destroyed. Killing the current 4 heroes and summoning the more united ones may be a better option. But Naofumi was misunderstood and framed several times by the other 3 heroes, and he is unwilling to cooperate with them no matter how. He believes that he can save the world alone. So Queen Philolial offers to fight Philo, and if Philo passes the test, she will believe Naofumi's words. Philo's strength depends on the strength of her master, Naofumi. Queen Philolial has lived for hundreds of years, and it is impossible for Philo to defeat her. But Philo still wins the approval of Queen Philolial with her strong will and strength. Queen Philolial finally admits that Naofumi has the potential to save the world without the need for 3 other heroes. She also gives Philo a crown, which means that Philo will be the next Queen of Philolials. At night, Queen Philolial gives Naofumi some advice. Naofumi's performance reminds her of the previous shield hero. They have a lovely night together. The next day, Queen Philolial bids farewell to Naofumi. Naofumi's party carefully moves in the forest, and hasn't been discovered. They are getting closer and closer to the capital of the Melromark Kingdom. But on the way, there is an outpost, and they have to pass it before entering the capital. The spear hero is already guarding here, waiting for the arrival of Naofumi. Naofumi is able to easily defeat the spear hero, but he wants to convince the spear hero to believe in him. To his surprise, the spear hero attacks him. The spear hero also accuses Naofumi of killing the sword hero and the bow hero. Naofumi wants to explain, but the spear hero doesn't give him a chance, and then they fight fiercely. The spear hero is inferior in combat experience and skills to Naofumi, but Naofumi has not been promoted, so his level is lower than the spear heroes. The companions of the spear hero are also higher in level than Naofumi's companions. But in the ensuing battle, Naofumi's side gradually gains the upper hand. They have much more combat experience than the Spear Heroes team. In the end, Philo and Melty create a more powerful magic with magics of different attributes and successfully defeat the team of the Spear Hero. But the battle is not over. Suddenly, Philo senses the danger, and reminds Naofumi to defend against attacks from the sky. So Naofumi summons many shields. In the next second, a meteorite rain falls from the sky. Fortunately, Naofumi has made preparations in advance, so no one is killed by the meteorite rain. At this time, the Pope appears in front of them. It turns out that the attack just now was sent by the Pope. Melty is surprised because the Pope was originally her ally. But in fact, the Pope just wants to use Melty to eliminate Naofumi. Based on the doctrine, the Church ostracizes demi-humans, while the shield hero is very kind to demi-humans. So the Pope has wanted to get rid of Naofumi since the beginning. All the conspiracies that happened to Naofumi were caused by the Church. This time, the Pope brings a large number of members of the Church, and he intends to kill Naofumi and the others here, and then summon the 4 heroes again. Although the Pope is not very powerful, he can make other believers provide mana. Through the mana of these people, the Pope can cast extremely powerful magic. Naofumi can only constantly summon his shields to fend off the Pope's attacks, but there are so many believers who can provide a lot of mana, while Naofumi's mana is limited. Just as Naofumi is in a tough fight, the reinforcements suddenly appear. They are the sword hero and the spear hero, who were attacked by the assassin sent by the Pope, and the Pope spreads rumors that they had been killed by Naofumi. After the sword hero and the spear hero defeated the assassins, they rush to help Naofumi. Now they finally understand that Naofumi has always been wronged. But they don't apologize to Naofumi. Much to Naofumi's anger, the other 3 heroes believe that all this is a misunderstanding, and the cunning Pope is the culprit. Naofumi believes that their stupidity and arrogance are also the reasons why he was wronged. They then begin to quarrel, and it seems that they won't join forces. So the Pope takes this opportunity to attack again. Naofumi summons a shield to block the attacks. Seeing this, everyone stops arguing. They know they can refuse to consider each other friends, but they must fight together temporarily to defeat a common enemy. At the same time, the queen also launches a counterattack against the church, and she leads an army, rushing towards Naofumi. In order to trap Naofumi and the others, the Pope creates a large magic barrier to trap them inside. Everyone begins to attack the Pope, who is soon injured. However, outside the barrier, believers are able to heal the Pope instantly with healing magic. Ordinary attacks seem to be unable to cause harm to the Pope. So Naofumi decides to use the cursed shield to fight the Pope. He then loses his mind and goes into a powerful but crazy state. However, under the call of his companions, Naofumi gradually regains his senses. He covers his teammates with his shield to attack the Pope, and the sword hero and the spear hero successfully wound the Pope. But the Pope soon recovers from his injuries, and he begins to fight back with stronger magic. Naofumi and the others gradually run out of their mana, and they are likely to lose the battle. Just then, the Queen and her army arrive, and the Queen freezes the Pope with magic. Naofumi takes the opportunity to summon a steel cage that devours the Pope. When the believers outside see the Pope dead, they all surrender. Naofumi wins the final victory, but he faints because of exhaustion. The Queen immediately orders an all-out effort to rescue Naofumi. Naofumi is seriously injured because the cursed shield has a very strong side effect, and he has to rest for a while. After Naofumi wakes up, the Queen immediately apologizes to him. She told Naofumi that he had been treated unfairly before because the king had been used by the church. Now that the church has been punished, it is time to punish the king and Melty. The next day, the Queen publicly brings the king and Melty to trial, which is witnessed by the whole country through magic. Because the king and Melty framed Naofumi, made him treated unfairly, and even tried to kill him many times, the Queen sentences them to death. Naofumi is somewhat surprised by the verdict. Although he hates the king and Melty, he does not want to kill them. So during the execution, Naofumi stops the executioner. He decides to punish them in a different way. Since then, both the king and Melty have been stripped of their names and given insulting nicknames. The Queen immediately agrees to Naofumi's request. In fact, she also doesn't want to see her husband and daughter executed. After this, Naofumi leaves the palace and goes to the next area to continue his adventure. This time, no one sees him as a bad guy, and everyone knows that Naofumi is the real hero. They treat him with the highest level etiquette and send him away. Naofumi first comes to the hourglass, and this time no one hinders him and his partner from completing their promotion. Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo have all been promoted to professions with higher levels, and their attributes have been greatly improved. Later, Naofumi will travel to an island with 3 other heroes, because special areas will appear on the island these days, and they can gain double experience points if they kill monsters in these areas. On the boat to the island, Naofumi meets 2 adventurers. The male adventurer is a powerful warrior who excels at using the scythe, while the female adventurer is a magician who excels at using gem magic. They are very kind and cheerful, and Naofumi quickly becomes friends with them. Soon after, the boat arrives at the destination. This time, in addition to Naofumi and his companions, there are many adventurers who come to the island, and all of them want to gain more experience points. In this case, if they can team up with more people, they will be more efficient in gaining experience points. So the 2 adventurers invite Naofumi to be in one team. Naofumi thinks they can be good teammates and agrees to their request. Then they begin to fight the monsters on the island. Naofumi discovers that even weak monsters are able to provide a lot of experience points, so they quickly increase their levels. But Naofumi suddenly discovers that he can't gain experience points anymore. At this time, the bow hero appears beside him. It turns out that the heroes cannot get too close, otherwise, they will not be able to gain experience points. So Naofumi changes locations to continue fighting monsters. By the evening, they have gained a lot of experience points and materials. After the 2 adventurers meet Naofumi in the evening, they go to the tavern for dinner. Naofumi makes an appointment with them to fight stronger monsters together next time. The next day, Naofumi goes to another island with them. The monsters here are powerful, but the 2 adventurers are stronger. They easily defeat a large number of monsters. This surprises Naofumi very much, because their strength even surpasses that of the other 3 heroes. After a day of fighting, Naofumi is convinced that they are not ordinary adventurers, but they have good characters, which makes Naofumi feel very gratified. After that, Naofumi says goodbye to them. Because they fight for several days, Naofumi decides to take a break with his companions. But while they are having a rest by the sea, Philo suddenly sees a mysterious relic at the bottom of the sea. Naofumi then dives with his companions to the bottom of the sea, and they are surprised to find that there is also an hourglass. Besides, the hourglass countdown shows that there will be a wave on this island in 2 days. In response to this wave, the Queen quickly organizes an army. Everyone is on a battleship and waits at sea for the wave to come. Naofumi notices that the 2 adventurers have also appeared at sea, but their expressions look slightly strange. Soon, the wave comes, and many monsters appear in the sky. It is not very difficult for the army to deal with these monsters since they've already made preparations. The soldiers throw spirits into the sea, and many monsters fall into a state of drunkenness when they enter the water, causing their combat power to be weakened. This time, the boss is a strange fish with horns, and it is seemingly not affected by spirits. Naofumi is responsible for luring the strange fish, while the others attack it, but their attacks can't destroy the carapace of the strange fish. At the same time, some fishmen among the monsters begin to attack, and Melty is almost dragged into the sea by the fishmen. At the critical moment, the two adventurers save Melty, and then they work together with Naofumi to kill the boss. However, after killing the boss, the battle is not over, and the real battle has just begun. The two adventurers suddenly declare war on Naofumi and the others. It turns out that they are also heroes, but they come from another world. The male adventurer is the vassal scythe hero. The female adventurer is not a hero, but a teammate of the vassal scythe hero. Their world has also been affected by the wave, and the way to stop the wave is to defeat the hero of the other world. The vassal scythe hero is very powerful, and he easily defeats other heroes outside of Naofumi. They then fight against Naofumi. Although they are friends, now they have to be enemies for the sake of their respective worlds. After a fierce fight, the two end in a draw. Glass then also joins the fight. It turns out that she is the vassal fan hero, one of the teammates of the vassal scythe hero. In their last battle, Naofumi was almost defeated by Glass, but luckily, he managed to escape. This time, he cannot escape again. Glass is stronger than last time, but Naofumi has greater progress. Naofumi has his companions deal with the vassal scythe hero, while he fights against Glass. After Naofumi gets promoted, his shield has a new ability capable of devouring the opponent's mana. Glass' ability is to use life points as mana, so her magic is very powerful. However, Naofumi's new skill happens to surpass Glass' ability. Even so, Glass still ends in a draw with Naofumi, so she decides to cast one of her strongest skills to exhaust her life points. After Glass casts this skill, either she or Naofumi will die. Just then, the Bow hero's teammate, Rishia, gives Naofumi an assist. She throws numerous spirits into the sky, and Naofumi immediately breaks the barrel. Glass is instantly drenched in spirits, and she falls into a drunken state and ultimately fails to cast her strongest skills. Later, the wave ends, and the battle between Naofumi and the heroes from another world hasn't decided the winner, but everyone knows that in the next wave, the heroes of another world will appear again. After this battle, Rishia is ostracized by her teammates for helping Naofumi, so Rishia joins Naofumi's team, and she will get a magic tattoo and become a member of Naofumi's harem. After this wave, the queen, in order to reward Naofumi, intends to give him a territory. Instead of choosing a fertile area, Naofumi chooses a barren one because this place is the home of Raphtalia. It was destroyed in a wave, and many demi-humans lost their homes. Naofumi intends to rebuild the place so that more demi-humans can live happily ever after. Naofumi lost everything when he first came to this world, but now, through hard work, he has regained everything he deserves. In the future, Naofumi will continue to work hard to protect the world and his companions. That brings the end of The Rising of the Shield Hero, Season 1. In the previous episodes, Naofumi was treated unfairly, which has been changed in the second half of the story. Those who framed Naofumi pay the price, and Naofumi gets the glory he deserves. Facing the difficult situation, Naofumi doesn't give up and mind the opinions of others. He tries hard to become more powerful until he can defeat enemies with his strength, making everyone change their opinions about him. This story tells us that when facing difficulties, we shouldn't give up easily. When we try hard to become stronger, the difficulties will change subsequently, and we'll gain the final success. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'll recap more interesting anime in the future. See you in my next video.